What's going on, guys? Welcome back, and we're back in the garage, and we're finally gonna get back on the bird after like a 2-week break. Now, I've been crazy busy with work, so I haven't really had much time to wrench on the cars, and the little time that I did, I chose to work on this one because, well, this is on the road and I get to enjoy it. Now, I am gonna switch things up a little bit here. Normally, I would make videos and I'd make them based on one project and, do it start to finish. Well, given my time schedule, that's becoming very difficult for me, and it's causing me to go very long periods of time without posting. So I'm pretty much gonna switch to like a vlog style, and we're just gonna record what I'm doing in a day, guys, because I'm only here for Saturday and I gotta leave tomorrow. I got a 6-hour ride to work, so let's see what we're gonna get into anyways now. Let's get inside the car. Now, you gotta be quite a contortionist to get in here with this bar that I got in the way and all that stuff, so bear with me one moment. So here's where we're at on the bird. I got the one tool board and torque box already done. One rocker almost done, it's screwed in place. Now I gotta get started over here on this torque box and toe board, but you guys know from the rocker video, I didn't weld here because I chose that one, you can see it's pulled away, and I didn't want to keep drilling a bunch of holes to try and get it. So I opted to do it from the top side, and that also will keep me from dressing my welds from the bottom because, quite frankly, I'm not the best overhead welder. I hate it. Somehow I always get burnt, catch on fire, etc. And my welds they come out really bad. They're strong. They hold up, but they come out really bad. Anyways, we got to clean this up. I did do a quick wire brush in here. You can see I tore it right there with the air hammer. That was from when I was removing the inner rocker from here. I got a couple holes here. I actually never welded it to the outer rocker at this point, so that's another spot. I'm gonna weld it there. So we're gonna drill that out, weld it there. I gotta get this clamp welded, and we're gonna get this ground down and treated with some asphalt, and then get it coated so that I can progress and move on to this toe board. It's the little things that, you gotta take care of. It's also torn here from the removal of the rocker, so I gotta straighten that out and stitch it up right there as well. Anyways, let's quit yapping around. Get you guys set up on the tripod. Try to get you an angle where you can see what's going on here. It's kind of tough in here with this tripod and this very minimal workspace I got going on. Would you look at that? I've been looking for this thing for about 3 weeks now. There it is. Hiding in plain sight. That's usually the best place. All right, so I did wire wheel this really quick like 3 weeks ago, and it looks like it can use it again. So let me grab my grinder with a cup wheel on it, and we'll get this cleaned up really quick, and we'll start getting this welded to the bottom section. Guys, make sure you always wear your eye and ear protection. Trust me, take it from someone who's been pretty hard-headed and didn't. I've had my cornea cut probably 3 times so far, and it's not fun. Definitely not fun. As for hearing, well, let's just say I got a loss of hearing in my right ear. I'm gonna say that's good enough for now. I'll clean it a bit better after I weld it. Let's see if this thing is gonna pull into place easy or if it's gonna fight me. I think the trick is gonna be to walk it down. Well, those two are pretty much good to go. So let's get our little wire brush in our drill. That just died. Do have a backup, but not going to get it. We'll make do. I do have a light on my welding helmet. All right, so I went and got my drill bits. Off camera, I did try and straighten this out a little bit. I did get it out some. So we're just gonna fill that in there. I did hammer on this a little bit off camera. I do gotta put a relief cut in here so I can weld that. Alright, as I said, I wasn't going to record it because I wasn't going to bore you with the measuring, but I went ahead, I took my measurements for the torque box right there. You can see I got the level, and how I went about it was I dropped the tape measure from this bottom edge down to the bubble level, and we got 22 1/4. It does match the other side, so the car is square. Also, I took the idea from Vinyl Village Garage. Let me grab these. These are also my rear body mount bolts. As you can see, I got two sets of nuts, but on here, that is for my rear floor, for my rear set of body mounts in the main floor pan. This 7/16 1/4 inch socket, they said would fit perfect. and it does. So just for a quick setup, if I can find a hole, there it is. Sorry guys, I'm doing this with one hand. Got that, we'll put that in their circle. Now my rod was too short to make it to the ground, so I screwed a 4x4, piece of scrap 4x4 I had, screwed it into my cribbing, made sure that that was solid and that doesn't move, and it doesn't. So I got this. As I said, I took the idea from Vinyl Village Garage, but I also like numbers, so I did drop a tape measure too, just to be safe. I did it in multiple spots. I dropped the plumb bob in multiple spots. That's what the duct tape's for, and the marks. So now we're ready to start removing this, and I got all these welds. I'm gonna drill them. Got expanding and contracting on the metal cans there. That was that loud pop sound. I got all these spot welds to drill out. I'm not lucky. I do not get lucky with just running the air hammer through them. I don't know what it is, but I end up tearing sheet metal up and end up having to repair it. So I'm just gonna put the time in, and I'm gonna drill these out. I'm gonna just go straight through. I'm not gonna use a spot weld cutter, and then I'll just weld from the new one in from the back side. Also, you can see here, I made a witness mark with a silver Sharpie, just so I know where the old torque box was. I also did do it on the inside. You can kind of see, it's hard. There's a black Sharpie line along the toe board to help me line up the angle of that guy. A little bit holding right there. And there's our rotted out torque box. You can pretty much see the reason why I'm replacing the whole thing here. One, the bottom is completely non-existent, but the rust comes up really high, comes over the nut plate. Sure, that was probably good. I probably could have sectioned it here, but it was pitted pretty bad. This flange is actually swelled from the pack rust underneath it, so the best bet was to replace it as a whole. Same thing as I did on the other side. This was the worst one, in fact, though. There's our rusty toe board. Only had one weld there. I seen some had two. Some cars had two, but this one didn't. That doesn't look too good there. Hopefully this is good in that area. We'll have to do some patchwork. All right, now we got to start working on getting rid of this toe board. Now we'll switch back into the inside and mark it out where we want to be. Well guys, we're back on the inside of the bird. You can see the rotted out toe board, not torque box. Anyways, there's our replacement panel. You can see it comes well up past the steering column opening, because there is the gas pedal hole, and there it is there. So the new panel definitely comes up to about right here, which is good, because we're gonna need some of that, because you can see that hole right there. Not supposed to be there. You can also see the other side, I did have to come onto the top of the tunnel due to some rot, and I do have the same issues here. There's actually a pinhole right there. So we're probably gonna have to come. This is definitely solid here. We got some pitting, but not so bad, but I got the steel, so I might as well just eliminate all that. And we're gonna come far into the tunnel here. We're gonna have to come up, we're gonna have to trim around. There is a brace behind here for the steering column. That's where these nuts are welded to. It's to stiffen up the firewall. So we're probably gonna come under here, straight across, some pitting there. Doesn't seem too bad. I might be able to keep it. Come here, but then once we get here, we're gonna have to swoop up, come across, come onto the tunnel, and straight down. So we're pretty much gonna be using 90% of this patch. Same there. That one we use pretty much all of it too. They come to the center of the hump. So, and this came all the way up to here. I probably could have stopped here on this panel, but then I would have did that. I just figured I might as well just use it. I got it. Here, we're gonna have to use almost all of it. We don't have a choice. So, we get up, I'm gonna start working on cutting this out. We're gonna try not to destroy this because this is going to be our template. We're gonna take the piece we cut off of here, transfer it over, and we're gonna use it to mark a line, and then we'll come back and we'll fine tune it to fit the car. I made my cut line. You can see it there. It's definitely a maze of cuts, you know, up, down, up, down. It'd be, ideally, I'd like a straight line across, but we're not gonna get that on this panel because one, the rot, and two, certain areas I don't want to screw it. Like right here, I could go straight across, but there's a folded edge that's on this firewall. I don't want to mess with it. The metal is actually good, about a ½ inch down. There's no surface rust. So we're gonna cut down and around that. We also need to be careful there because there's a brace behind it, so we can't cut too deep. So we got to pay mind when we're doing that. Same with here. I could just go straight across like that. I do not want to get into messing with the gas pedal hole or this little support bracket, so we're gonna cut down. So we didn't do too bad. We did cut into the brace quite a bit, but that's to be expected. There's no worries there. Turns out there was a little spot weld at the bottom. Again, no big deal. But we got her out in one clean piece. We'll transfer it over to the new panel and cut that right out. Now there is a couple other things I got to do here. I left this flange, we got to cut that out, so we'll get our grinder. Now that we got the space, we might make a nice clean flush. And being that this metal is weaker than this, I'm not going to bother drilling any of these welds. I'm just going to hit it with the air hammer because the flange should tear before the actual rocker panel brace, so I'm not worried about that. Now pretty much all I want to do is, now I'm going to take my grinder and I'm going to start cleaning all this. Alright guys, so the phone stopped recording because I pretty much ran out of space on my device. So I'm going to try and make this quick. Where it cut off at is, I simply just cut here. I used the air hammer and I knocked this flange off. You can see the little bits left behind. You can see where it tore clean. I do got to remove that metal, clean it up. I did wire brush this area, and as you can see, we got some severe pitting in the right here and a hole, so we will be making a patch for this spot right here. Got a little more wire brushing to do here, and then I'm going to treat everything with Ospo so that next weekend when I come, I can get straight to welding and all that stuff there. I don't have to wait for it to do its thing. Alright guys, so that's gonna wrap it up here for me. I gotta stop working anyways. I gotta get ready to leave for work soon. We got everything tore out. You can see in the background, we got our old piece ready to use as a template to cut the new one out of there. The next video, we're gonna make that patch for this area and we'll start working on fitting in the toe board and the torque box. As for now, pretty much all I'm gonna do right before I leave is I'm gonna finish wire wheeling all this, and then I'm gonna treat it with some Ospo, and then that's it for today. I'm not gonna bore you guys with that process. I've done it in previous videos. you've seen exactly what it entails. So anyways, take care everybody, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.